Hello again, and welcome back.
Hi, everyone.
Today, we're jumping back into the course, and we're tackling a lesson that, well, it often raises eyebrows, I think it's fair to say, even for us sometimes.
Oh, definitely. It's that core idea that all suffering, illness, even trauma, it all originates in the mind.
Yeah, and we've both, wrestled with this one quite a bit ourselves, so we're coming at this not with easy answers, really.
Not at all. It's complex stuff.
And because the lesson itself touches on themes of, well, violent trauma, we do want to give a trigger warning right up front.
That's important. And also, just a quick heads up, we do have transcripts available on Spotify.
Right, which can be helpful. Maybe review them first, especially, before listening with any younger people around.
Good point. And if you're looking to connect with others exploring these kind of concepts, you can follow us over on TikTok.
Oh, yeah. What's the handle?
It's at the World Harmony Project, all one word.
Great. At the World Harmony Project on TikTok. Okay, so our plan now is we're going to spend the next maybe 10, 12 minutes or so just reading today's lesson directly.
Right.
Let's begin.
Lesson 136. Sickness is a defense against the truth. 1. No one can heal unless he understands what purpose sickness seems to serve. For then he understands as well its purpose has no meaning. Being causeless and without a meaningful intent of any kind, it cannot be at all. When this is seen, healing is automatic. It dispels this meaningless illusion by the same approach which carries all of them to truth and merely leaves them there to disappear. 2. Sickness is not an accident. Like all defenses, it is an insane device for self-deception. And like all the rest, its purpose is to hide reality, attack it, change it, render it inept, distort it, twist it, and reduce it to a little pile of disassembled parts. The aim of all defenses is to keep the truth from being whole. The parts are seen as if each one were whole within itself. 3 defenses are not unintentional, nor are they made without awareness. They are secret magic wands you wave when truth appears to threaten what you would believe. They seem to be unconscious, but because of the rapidity with which you choose to use them. In that second, even less, in which the choice is made, you recognize exactly what you would attempt to do, and then proceed to think that it is done. 4. Who but yourself evaluates a threat, decides escape is necessary, and sets up a series of defenses to reduce the threat which has been judged as real. All this cannot be done unconsciously. But afterwards, your plan requires that you must forget you made it, so it seems to be external to your own intent. A happening beyond your state of mind, an outcome with a real effect on you instead of one affected by yourself. 5. It is this quick forgetting of the part you play in making your reality which makes defenses seem to be beyond your own control. But what you have forgot can be remembered, given willingness to reconsider the decision which is doubly shielded by oblivion. Your not remembering is but the sign that this decision still remains in force as far as your desires are concerned. 6. Mistake this not for fact. Defenses must make facts unrecognizable. They aim at doing this, and this they seem to do. Every defense takes fragments of the whole, assembles them without regard to all their true relationships, and thus constructs illusions of a whole which is not there. It is this process which imposes threat, and not whatever outcome may result. 7. When parts are wrested from the whole and seen as separate and wholes within themselves, they become symbols standing for attack upon the whole, successful in effect, and never to be seen as whole again. And yet you have forgotten that they stand but for your own decision of what should be real, to take the place of what is real. 8. Sickness is a decision. It is not a thing that happens to you, quite unsought, which makes you weak and brings you suffering. It is a choice you make, a plan you lay, when for an instant truth arises in your own deluded mind, and all your world appears to totter and prepare to fall. Now are you sick that truth may go away and threaten your establishments no more? 9. How do you think that sickness can succeed in shielding you from truth? Because it proves the body is not separate from you, and so you must be separate from the truth. You suffer pain because the body does, and in this pain are you made one with it. Thus is your true identity preserved, and the strange, haunting thought that you might be something beyond this little pile of dust silenced and stilled. For see, this dust can make you suffer, twist your limbs and stop your heart, commanding you to die and cease to be. Thus is the body stronger than the truth, which asks you live but cannot overcome your choice to die. And so the body is more potent than everlasting life, heaven more frail than hell, and God's design for the salvation of his Son opposed by a decision stronger than his will. His Son is dust, the Father incomplete, and chaos sits in triumph on his throne. 11. Such is your planning for your own defense. And you believe that heaven quails before such mad attacks as these, with God made blind by your illusions, truth turned into lies, and all the universe made slave to laws which your defenses would impose on it. Yet who believes illusions but the one who made them up? Who else can see them and react to them as if they were the truth? 12. God knows not of your plans to change his will. The universe remains unheeding of the laws by which you thought to govern it, and heaven has not bowed to hell, nor life to death. You can but choose to think you die or suffer sickness or distort the truth in any way. What is created is apart from all of this. Defenses are plans to defeat what cannot be attacked. What is unalterable cannot change, and what is wholly sinless cannot sin. 13. Such is the simple truth. It does not make appeal to might nor triumph. It does not command obedience, nor seek to prove how pitiful and futile your attempts to plan defenses which would alter it. It merely wants to give you happiness, for such its purpose is. Perhaps it sighs a little when you throw away its gifts, and yet it knows with perfect certainty that what God wills for you must be received. 14. It is this fact which demonstrates that time is an illusion, for it lets you think what God has given you is not the truth right now, as it must be. The thoughts of God are quite apart from time, for time is but another meaningless defense you made against the truth. Yet what God wills is here, and you remain as he created you. Truth has a power far beyond defense, for no illusion can remain where it has been allowed to enter, and it comes to any mind which would lay down its arms and cease to play with folly. It is found at any time today if you will choose to practice giving welcome to the truth. 16. This is our aim today, and we will give a quarter of an hour twice to ask the truth to come to us and set us free, and truth will come, for it has never been apart from us. It merely waits for just this invitation which we give today. We introduce it with a healing prayer to help us rise above defensiveness and let truth be as it has always been. Sickness is a defense against the truth. I will accept the truth of what I am and let my mind be wholly healed today. 17, healing will flash across your open mind as peace and truth arise to take the place of war and vain imaginings. There will be no dark corners sickness can conceal and keep defended from the light of truth. There will be no dim figures from your dreams, nor their obscure and meaningless pursuits, with double purposes insanely sought remaining in your mind. It will be healed of all the sickly wishes that try to authorize the body to obey. 18. Now is the body healed because the source of sickness has been opened to relief. And you will recognize you practiced well by this. The body should not feel at all. If you have been successful, there will be no sense of feeling ill or feeling well, of pain or pleasure. No response at all is in the mind to what the body does. Its usefulness remains and nothing more. 19. Perhaps you do not realize that this removes the limits you had placed upon the body by the purposes you gave to it. As these are laid aside, the strength the body has will always be enough to serve all truly useful purposes. The body's health is fully guaranteed because it is not limited by time, by weather or fatigue, by food and drink, or any laws you made it serve before. You need do nothing now to make it well, for sickness has become impossible. 20, yet this protection needs to be preserved by careful watching. If you let your mind harbor attack thoughts, yield to judgment, or make plans against uncertainties to come, you have again misplaced yourself and made a bodily identity which will attack the body, for the mind is sick. To champ open, give instant remedies should this occur by not allowing your defensiveness to hurt you longer. Do not be confused about what must be healed, but tell yourself, I have forgotten what I really am, for I mistook my body for myself. Yea, sickness is a defense against the truth. But I am not a body, and my mind cannot attack. So I cannot be sick. And that concludes the reading of Lesson 136. The Course's idea in Lesson 136, that illness is actually a defense against truth, that can feel like a really big hurdle to get over, can it?
Oh, absolutely. Especially when you think about really tough experiences, trauma, serious health problems, violence, even things like genetic conditions we might be born with.
Right. It almost feels wrong somehow to suggest these things come from inside us.
It definitely challenges our usual way of thinking.
Right.
And our goal here in this deep dive isn't to dismiss how real and painful those experiences are.
No, of course not.
It's more about carefully unpacking what the Course is actually getting at.
Yeah.
It's less about blame and much more about understanding the huge role our minds play in how we experience everything.
And how grasping that role can actually open up a path to real inner peace, potentially.
That's the idea. So, okay, let's dig into these key points. The first one, sickness and suffering aren't just random bad luck.
Right. The Course says they're unconscious defenses. Defenses against what, though? The awareness of God's love? That sounds counterintuitive.
It does at first glance, but think about it from the Course's perspective. The original mistake was believing we separated from love from our source.
Yeah.
That created this deep sense of lack, of fear. Okay.
So the ego, which is the thought system based on that separation, uses sickness and suffering to keep that feeling going, to prove separation is real.
So if we actually felt that unconditional love, that wholeness, the ego's whole story would just fall apart.
Exactly. So these defenses, even though they cause pain, are like shields the mind unconsciously puts up to avoid that overwhelming truth, like hiding from a really bright light because it feels too intense.
That puts a strange spin on it, like the ego prefers the discomfort of shadows over the brilliance of truth. And that leads right into the second point, mind over body.
It's not saying the body isn't experiencing things, but that the source of that experience, or at least our interpretation of it, starts in the mind's need to hide.
The mind is the cause, the body is the effect. The Course really hammers that home.
It does. What shows up physically, health or illness, is seen as reflecting the mind's beliefs and choices. The body is like a screen projecting our inner state.
So if the mind is full of fear and defense, then that's likely what gets projected onto the screen of the body, manifesting as some kind of distress.
Which brings us to this next idea. The world as a collective dream. This is where it gets really mind-bending for a lot of people, I think.
It can be perplexing, yeah. It's not saying chairs and tables aren't physically there.
Right. It's about our perception of it all being a kind of shared illusion, and that the events, no matter how big they seem, don't actually change our fundamental spiritual reality.
The key is distinguishing the form from the meaning we give it. The forms, events, bodies, they seem solid. But the Course says their impact on us comes from the content of our minds.
So if our minds are fearful, we see a fearful world.
Precisely. But our true self, that core of love and light, is untouched by the plot twists in this dream. It's like watching a movie. It can be intense, but it doesn't change who you are sitting there watching.
Okay, so if suffering stems from this misperception, this dream state, then the way out, the healing, is through forgiveness. But this isn't just saying, oh, it's fine to bad behavior.
Not at all. It's much deeper. Forgiveness in the Course isn't about letting someone off the hook or pretending harm didn't happen. It's an internal shift.
A shift in perception, choosing love instead of fear.
Exactly that. It's about releasing our own judgments, the story of being wronged, the grievance we hold on to. When we forgive, we're choosing to look past the fearful action to see the call for love underneath, or maybe just the shared mistaken belief in separation.
So it's really about freeing ourselves from the grip of resentment and pain.
Yes, it's a gift we give ourselves ultimately. It liberates our mind.
Which connects to the final key point, reinterpreting worldly events. It's not about passivity, is it? It's about actively choosing a different lens.
It's about claiming our power as the perceiver. We get to choose the meaning we assign. The ego wants us to feel like victims in a dangerous world.
But aligning with the Holy Spirit, with that wiser perspective, lets us see these things differently, as chances to heal.
Opportunities to release fear, yes. To remember who we really are. It's not denying the experience happened, but denying the ego's fearful take on it. That's where the freedom comes in.
The Course really drives home that the world isn't the cause of our suffering, it's an effect. It mirrors back the belief in separation already in our minds.
Yeah, and what's really key is seeing how the ego uses things like trauma, illness, violence. It uses them to make that sense of separation feel incredibly real and solid.
To reinforce the idea that we are just these fragile bodies vulnerable to attack.
Exactly. These experiences become proof in the ego's logic that we're separate, limited, unsafe. It's a distorted reflection, reinforcing a distorted belief.
And this highlights that critical distinction the Course makes. The ego interprets suffering one way, the Holy Spirit another.
Right. The ego says, see, proof. You're alone, you're breakable, the world's out to get you.
But the Holy Spirit's interpretation is completely different.
Completely. The Holy Spirit sees suffering not as proof of our brokenness, but as a signal, a call for healing, an opportunity to wake up from the dream.
It gently redirects us back to our wholeness, our connection.
Yes, it reframes these hard times as chances to choose love over fear, forgiveness over attack, finding the lesson, the opportunity for release within the experience.
It feels important to stress, though, that this doesn't mean becoming passive bystanders to harm. It's not about ignoring injustice or illness.
No, not at all. But it relocates our true power. It means that even when things are incredibly difficult externally, our inner response can still be anchored in peace, not dictated by fear.
That inner choice is where the freedom is. We can still take practical actions, get medical help, seek justice, protect ourselves.
But our internal state isn't held hostage by the ego's fear story. And that resonates so much with the affirmation, I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me.
Remembering that truth even when the illusion feels overwhelming.
Even with something deeply traumatic, the invitation from the Course is to gently, eventually, look past the specifics of the event.
To the unchanging reality of our innocence, our inherent safety and love, that feels like a huge ask sometimes.
It's definitely a process, not a switch you flip. But the possibility is always there to look beyond the story, the pain, the apparent reality, and connect with the truth of who we are. Eternally safe, eternally loved.
Okay, let's try to make this more concrete. How would we reframe some really tough, real-world situations using this lens? Take a genetic condition, for example. The ego thought is often, I'm stuck with this. It's my biology.
Right. I'm a victim of my genes. And the Course offers a counter perspective. This body, with its challenges, isn't the real you.
So the practice isn't denying the condition or skipping doctors.
No, it's about affirming your spiritual identity alongside caring for the body. Using something like, this condition doesn't define me. I remain as God created me. It helps connect with that deeper truth, approaching it with compassion, not powerlessness.
Recognizing the body has limits, but you are limitless.
Something like that, yes. How about terrorism? The default ego reaction is fear, anger, defense. The world's hostile, fight back.
And the Course's view.
Attack is always a projection of fear. Only love is ultimately real. Now, practically, this doesn't mean letting your guard down irresponsibly.
Of course, safety and justice still matter.
But inwardly, you choose peace over hate. You refuse to let fear write the narrative, even while taking practical steps. An affirmation might be, I refuse to let fear dictate my response. I choose to see with love. It's about guarding your inner state.
Protecting your peace amidst the chaos. Okay, cancer. The ego often frames it as a battle. My body's invaded. I must fight.
And the Course gently suggests, illness is a defense against truth. I can choose peace instead. Again, this doesn't mean rejecting treatment.
It's about the inner posture while dealing with the illness.
Exactly. Caring for the body without identifying as the illness. Affirming, I am eternal spirit. This body cannot imprison my mind. It helps maintain connection to your unchanging self, finding stillness even in the midst of physical turmoil.
And this is a hard one. Rape. The ego's devastating conclusion is often, I'm broken, destroyed, my innocence is gone.
And the Course Angela offers this incredibly profound, perhaps initially difficult truth. Your true self cannot be violated. You remain whole.
So the practice involves
Honoring the immense trauma and pain, absolutely. Allowing the necessary healing process. But ultimately, it's about gently releasing the identification with victim as your core identity.
affirming something like, I am still as God created me. I will not use this trauma to imprison myself further.
Yes, it speaks to that journey of reclaiming inner wholeness and strength, acknowledging the horrific experience didn't and couldn't diminish your eternal, inviolable worth.
It's really fundamental to grasp the Course's teaching that the world isn't God's creation, but this dream the ego made.
Right. A projection designed to hide our true spiritual nature and make separation seem real.
It describes it as a collective dream, doesn't it? We all seem separate, but we're like projections within one mind that believes it's separate.
Lesson 136 explicitly says, the world is a dream. Its purpose is to hide the truth about yourself. It's like we're all actors forgetting we're also the dreamer.
So if it's this ego dream, what's our job here? Are we supposed to fix the dream, change the world?
The Course points inward. It suggests our focus shouldn't be on rearranging the furniture in the dream, so to speak.
But on changing our own minds, aligning with the Holy Spirit.
Exactly. Learning to look on everything with forgiveness, trying to see past the surface illusions to the truth underneath.
So the practice involves things like pulling back our belief in the ego's dramas.
Yes, withdrawing judgment, refusing to buy into the conflict, and just aiming to be a quiet presence of love and healing within our own awareness. Shifting perception internally, whatever's happening externally.
And that requires disidentifying from the dream self, the body, the personal history, the suffering.
That's it. Remembering, I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. Our real identity is spirit, pure, whole, innocent, untouched by the dream's ups and downs.
Okay, so summing up this perspective, the world's a dream of separation, people are acting out of fear. Our job isn't judgment, but seeing with love through the Holy Spirit.
And our core function is forgiveness, which leads us back to remembering God, remembering home.
And it's always about reinterpretation, not denying what seems to happen, but choosing a higher perception that brings peace and undoes the illusion.
Precisely. It's about peace of mind now, regardless of the dream's content.
This brings us neatly to forgiveness as the core healing mechanism. The Course distinguishes so clearly between trying to fix the world's problems and healing the mind that's dreaming it.
That quote is central, isn't it?
Yeah.
Seek not to change the world, but choose to change your mind about the world.
It shifts everything inward.
It has to, because the Course teaches the world is just an outward picture of our inward condition. Trying to fix the picture without changing the inner state is like polishing a mirror, hoping it changes what's reflected, which is where forgiveness comes in. It's not about okaying the dream events, but about healing our minds by letting go of the guilt and the belief in separation that fuel our perception of a broken world.
And because minds are joined, that inner forgiveness ripples outwards.
That's the idea. Through the Holy Spirit, our individual healing contributes to the collective healing. As our perception shifts, we literally start to see the world differently, reflecting more love, less fear, because that's what's becoming dominant in our mind.
So the ego tries to fix things out there, implying the world is fundamentally flawed.
While the Holy Spirit heals our perception, revealing the world was never truly flawed or separate, just misperceived through fear. It's a shift from lack to abundance, from fragmentation to wholeness.
So our role isn't frantic external fixing, it's internal healing through forgiveness. That peace then changes our experience.
Right. Forgiveness fixes the dream not by force, but by changing how we see it through corrected vision.
Okay, this naturally leads into addressing some common ways this lesson gets misunderstood. The first big one, people hear sickness as a defense and think, oh, so it's my fault I'm sick.
And the Course is adamant. It's never about blame or guilt. Yes, it says sickness comes from a mind-level decision, but often deeply unconscious, driven by the ego's fear.
The point isn't blame, but empowerment.
Exactly. To show us the power of choice resides in the mind, meaning healing through forgiveness is always possible. It's about reclaiming agency, not assigning fault.
Another one. If sickness isn't ultimately real, I should just ignore my symptoms. Spiritual bypassing, right?
While metaphysically illness is illusory, denying our current experience isn't helpful. The Course advises bringing illusions to the truth gently, not pretending they don't exist for us right now.
It says denial is the problem, not the illusion itself.
Precisely. Engage with your experience wisely, compassionately, while holding the deeper truth in mind.
Then there's the really harsh one. Judging victims of violence or disease, thinking they chose it and are somehow spiritually weak.
That's pure ego judgment, completely missing the Course's spirit. While the origin of all suffering is traced back to the belief in separation, the response should always be compassion, understanding, recognizing shared humanity.
Seeing the potential for healing everywhere, not analyzing worthiness.
Exactly. Love and support are the only Course-consistent responses.
What about feeling guilty for needing help? Like needing medicine or therapy means you're failing spiritually.
That's another common trap. Seeking help isn't weakness. It can be a really loving act towards oneself, a step towards healing.
The Course says the Holy Spirit is the healer, not us personally.
Right. And receiving support can be part of how the Holy Spirit works through the illusion. Remember, the presence of fear is a sure sign that you are trusting in your own strength. Allowing help is allowing love in.
Okay, last one. The idea that if you're truly advanced in the Course, you just won't get sick. Physical symptoms mean you're doing it wrong.
The Course suggests that while symptoms might still appear, their meaning changes drastically for a healed mind. Peace becomes independent of the body's state.
So the body stops being a measure of spiritual success.
It just becomes a communication device within the dream, neutral. True healing is peace of mind, regardless of physical appearances. The focus shifts entirely from controlling the body to resting in unchanging peace. Well, that brings us to the end of another exploration.
Thanks for joining us for the challenging lesson. We'll address it again in future episodes because it's a major part of the metaphysics of the Course. If you have comments or questions, you can email ACIM@theworldharmonyproject.org. We'd love to hear from you.